If you have been watching the news, it would be hard to have missed the events relating to UFO disclosure during the summer of 2023. It is a subject finally getting mainstream visibility. It really is not in dispute among reasonable people who are following the subject that the United States government has in their possession a number of ET spacecraft, both crashed and intact, and they have had these things for a number of decades, even though the government has not formally acknowledged this publicly. But let's think about the consequences of this. What do you think those generals and admirals would do with those ET spacecraft once they had them? Would they have their troops sit around the crafts, make a campfire, and then sing Kumbaya all day, day after day, year after year? Of course not. Military leaders would immediately do whatever was needed in order to get their own versions of those crafts, essentially reverse engineering the ET tech. And once they had their own versions of those spacecraft, they would start to use them. But where would they use them? Would they use them in ways that other governments could see them operate? Of course not. Secrecy would be paramount. They would only use them in operations where no other governments would be able to see them. Keeping that tech in their own hands and no one else's would be the absolute top priority. Think of the atom bomb. Once the world knew that the atom bomb existed, it was only a matter of a short period of time before other governments had their own versions of those bombs, often using stolen information. It is nearly impossible to keep something secret if the basic information of that thing is publicly known. It's like all military tech generally. For example, companies file patents for military tech only when they are okay with the idea of their competitors knowing that the tech exists. Before that, they keep the tech secret and sell the tech only to the government without patents being in place. So when the US military has its own versions of ET spacecraft, how would they use them? Well, if they cannot use them during normal Earth operations, if they are to keep the existence of the tech super secret, then the only option left is to use it in space. And that is how you get the development of the American Secret Space Program, or SSP. Now, there is some indirect evidence of the existence of a secret space program that is useful to mention. Chaim Eshed, the former head of the Israeli Space Directorate for 30 years, has stated in the past that there is an underground base on Mars that has both Earth humans and extraterrestrials working side by side. At Farsight, we have done a major project on such a base that has really great high-resolution photographic imagery from official sources, and Google Earth, in their Mars option, even censors that exact spot on Mars. Well, the only way anyone could supply such a base is with a secret space program using ships with ET technology. It could not supply it with rocket ships, obviously. So, given the very strong likelihood that an American secret space program actually exists, we did a project on it at Farsight, and you are about to see the results of that project. I am Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight. At Farsight, we study the perceptual process known as remote viewing. Remote viewing is a mental process that is done using highly structured methodologies that are derived from those developed by the United States military and used for espionage purposes. But Farsight is civilian, and we use remote viewing for scientific experiments and for exploration. Well, this new project conducted at Farsight employs remote viewers who are among the most experienced and highly trained viewers existing today. The remote viewers all describe much the same thing, all corroborating reports, and it is worth emphasizing that the remote viewing was done totally blind, and none of the remote viewers communicated with one another about the project during the data collection phase. Even their final presentations were recorded on video with no one else in the room. This is not science fiction, told through riveting remote viewing conducted under defendable, clean, scientific conditions. This is as real as it gets. Now, as you know, at Farsight we also make video recordings of UFOs using our own cameras. We figured out how to evade their stealth tech, and we are teaching others how to make their own videos of such crafts. We recently improved the processing of some of our video clips of UFOs, and with one clip in particular, it is now much easier to see the UFO and the reflection off of its metallic surface. Now, this shot was taken over Pensacola Naval Air Base during a Blue Angel show in May 2023. Now, you will clearly see 4 Blue Angel jets getting passed by a UFO that is going many thousands of miles an hour. So feast your eyes on this. Well, we have shot literally many hundreds of UFOs since January of 2023. With so many ET spacecraft in our skies, all using stealth tech and speed to hide their presence, it is no wonder that many crafts have crashed over the years. Sometimes as a result of mechanical breakdowns and sometimes as a result of being shot down. You can be sure that the secret space program also has invested heavily into weaponry. What good is a high-tech spacecraft if you cannot defend it? And with so many crafts in the sky, good defensive weaponry is a must. Now, since the secret space program is secret, we don't have something verifiable to focus on with remote viewing. We don't have a picture of a UFO that we can definitively state is being flown by U.S. military personnel. But since the logic underlying the existence of a secret space program is very clear, we had to write our targets for this project in a more open-ended way that could pick up whatever is actually happening without any assumptions on our part. That is, we are just trying to see what the remote viewers come up with when tasked with the target of the secret space program. All remote viewing projects must have a target, and that is what enables the focus of the perceptions of the remote viewers. So for this project, the target has two parts. The first is the general idea as stated, the location and activity that would most clearly show the existence, scope, and current status of that which is commonly called the Secret Space Program, or SSP, operated by the United States. Now, all of the viewers did an initial solo session in which that was the only target. From their results with that solo session, a new target was devised for each viewer, which was designed to focus in on what they initially perceived. It's like looking through a small hole in the wall and then expanding the hole to see what's on the other side more clearly. That is where we designed the focuses that the viewers discuss in their sessions. So you will hear the viewers state things like they are zeroing in on focus 1 or focus 2 and so on. Now, they were never told what these focuses meant when they were doing their sessions. They were just told to hone in on focus 1 and then focus 2 like that. Now, in the sessions that you are about to see, we occasionally put up text on the screen to help you know what they are focusing on, to help you follow along. This is a really interesting project. You will see that the humans on the SSP ships are fully aware of the extraterrestrials, and often there are extraterrestrials on the Secret Space Program ships as well. Sometimes the Secret Space Program personnel like some of the extraterrestrials, and sometimes they do not like some of the extraterrestrials. For example, sometimes the reptilians are disliked, and sometimes they seem to be more liked or at least tolerated. And which groups of extraterrestrials the human personnel align themselves with seems to vary from ship to ship or operation to operation. It seems complicated overall. This is our first project on the U.S. Secret Space Program, and we are planning to revisit this project idea later as we continue to learn more about the Secret Space Program. So as we learn, we will refine our targets. So let's begin, starting with a session by Aziz Brown and then Jeaneé, Intysam, and finally Shantae. Here are our initial perceptions of the Secret Space Program being operated by the United States government. After you watch all of the sessions, I will return to pull everything together.